Get me the damn maid! God!
Want some swamp weeds? May the sleeper be with you. Let's get it rolling with our 100% review on Gothic Remake. This shall help you if you want to decide to grab the game or not, and to give you a little bit of a deep dive insights about the game, the world, its gameplay, and everything around. The snores here, let's enjoy. I'm also trying a new concept here and not go through a scripted kind of situation where I normally have my lines written down and just read over it, but more of a straight up direct take, especially fresh after being done with a game. I think it's more authentic and it's more emotional and not so, I don't know, stiff in a sense. I'm a live streamer mainly, not necessarily a video recording thing, so I like to mumble, I like to stumble upon my words and not necessarily read a script. So let's have a listen into it and see if you like this approach or if you want more clear, structured, kind of like as it were before. For those unaware what Gothic 1 is, it's an open world, well, semi-open world RPG, as story-wise you are confined within a space under a magical globe where you are thrown in as a convict with many others fighting king to work the mines, deliver ore in the war against the orcs. Because that magical ore, if confined and compressed and made into weapons, the weapons do not break, and it's kind of like magical in a sense. So within that topic, you have the chance you're in that kind of like prison to try to join one of 3 gangs and try to survive. And what's very unique about Gothic compared to other RPGs is that you are not the hero, at least not at the beginning. You're a nobody, everybody treats you like a nobody, they will yell at you, they will fight you, they will be mean to you, and they're not necessarily give you every information that you want out of the get-go because you are getting that I'm the player treatment. And I like this approach a lot, and I can highly encourage you to experience this as well. Gameplay. Gothic is a third-person action RPG where by doing tasks, by questing, by fighting, you're gaining XP points. With those XP points, at some point you will level up. And with the level up, you are gonna get learning points. Meaning, it's not your typical RPG where you just put, spend points into agility, strength, whatsoever, or gain out of the thin air new abilities. You actually have to go to a teacher, to a master, to somebody who is teaching you how to become better at the certain thing or how to increase your basic stats. The stats increase itself in terms of strength, for example. It will let you do more damage and also will let you wield more difficult, more heavier weapons. With that, the game wants to try to make you feel kind of like a progression arc, right? Beginning, you're very weak. For example, when you're not throwing one-handed weapon, your character will hold it like a baseball bat, be very bad at it, and make like very slow swings with no connection swings after it, be out of breath and very off balance. Once you've taken your first hour of one-handed fighting, for example, all of a sudden you can see the character's holding the hand in holding the weapon in one hand and starts to make smoother swings. And as soon as you are becoming then an expert in that domain, you can see that he's doing swings, he's switching the hand. Everything is really nicely animated, and you can visually see and feel the progress in terms of speed, in terms of combo hits, and being a lot faster within the combat. You have access to one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, bows, and magic. That's basically it. There's no shields, there's no spears, there's no nothing around that. That are the basic categories of it. And by strength, you're leaning into the melee weaponry. By dexterity, you're leaning into the archery. And by increasing your mana and magic, you have the ability and chance to cast more spells before you run out of magic. And, well, one of the ways of increasing your magic again is by taking a blunt and smoking. And, of course, alchemy and other plants. So overall, with this learning system, the game kind of gives this progression bar towards you, the progression arc. And at the beginning, everything is so difficult and hard, and everything will just kill you by looking at you, and you'll have to kind of like trial and error and hit the wall everywhere left and right, because you're trying to go into the woods and there all of a sudden is a wolf, and you're like, oh well, wolves, your first kind of enemy creatures in RPGs, and let's go fight them. You get completely shredded into bits hundreds of times until you just say, okay, this is the next best Elden Ring boss, and I'm Gonna leave it until you get your first proper weapon, your first little skill in terms of one-handed mastery, for example. And all of a sudden, the wolf is a piece of cake. And this kind of like step-by-step staircase system makes you feel so strong in your progression and so unique. And towards the end, being that super powerful hero that just marauders and kills through everything. I mean, depends, of course, on your difficulty setting, but definitely you can feel that progression arc. And there's very little games that I think nail it so good as the Gothic saga, in my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because I grew up with it, because I'm old. 90s kids. Well, long story short, it has improved from 2001 a lot. The mechanics are a lot better. The visuals are a lot better. It's kind of the core same thing as from 2001. And it feels amazing. Story! Well, in Gothic, you are the nameless hero and been thrown into the mining colony. Firstly, with the thought of, well, mining ore and delivered to the king. But then, a mage appears with a message to the fire mages, telling you, please deliver this note to the fire mages. It is very important. And with that, you get kicked and tossed into the colony. Very soon, you find out that, well, there are definitely barriers and you're not so easily just getting access to the fire mages. And then the game gives you a lot of options in order to prove yourself, make a name for yourself, gain the trust by doing quests for the people. It interlinks nicely those three camps with one another, getting you to know bit by bit more and more about what is happening there, what's the situation, why is that magical dome that blocks everybody from getting from the inside out, but you can come from the outside inside. And without spoiling too much, you understand more and more about the situation with the orcs, the war, why that war is so important, and you try to find out one of multiple ways to either live with the situation, get out of there, or let's say something very special might occur. The only downside that I found, I mean, they've added a few new content bits, especially with the orc sides, and some other nice attention to detail, but I think it still is this OG 2001 story experience where the main arc is very nicely thought through, but everything on the side, it's kind of just on the surface level in a sense, if you get my drift. It could have become a little bit more deeper, a little bit more meaningful, maybe giving you the choice of different story branches with different, maybe even different endings to come. You can feel the gravitas a little bit stronger with each camp and their story paths. But nonetheless, the whole story about the colony and the magical ore, the orcs, swamp weed, smokers, and what's going on there, it is a fantastic experience and probably written while somebody had a few blunts or more in there. Nonetheless, it's hooking, it's intriguing, you want to know more as you play, and I think it's a solid 4 out of 5. Score and audio. All I have to say is In Extremo and Kai Rosenkrantz. Those two components made the overall experience of the music, the atmospherical music that Kai Rosenkrantz is outstandingly well doing, underlining the situation, on giving the nice, music bits whenever the situation changes and whatnot. Fantastic. And then having an actual freaking folk metal band from Germany performing in your game with 3D scanned animation, fire spitting, full-on Hermannelik. No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Music, 5 out of 5. Graphics. Well, graphically has improved a lot from 2001. I mean, if we are drawing the comparison to the OG version, there's nothing here to say. Visually stunning. The whole shader spiel, the whole ray tracing is amazing. All the character models are looking fantastic. And overall, it is an eye candy, especially if you have the PC to run it on high graphics and whatnot. It is just pure beauty. I caught myself a few times that we're just standing on the cliff on the edge, watching over the valley, and just enjoyed the atmosphere, having Kai Rosenkrantz music playing in the background of the ambience, and just stand there for 10 minutes without even walking with my character, taking in the time lapse from dusk till dawn, just to enjoy the view. And I see personally, in terms of graphics, no better version of Gothic 1. This is, like, for me, masterpiece. Pull out 5 out of 5. Conclusion. Gothic 1 Remake is, in my books, a must. I might be biased because I grew up with Gothic. The experience of being that nobody who is becoming then somebody, trying to fit in, trying to get and make a name for yourself. Experiencing that harsh tone that Gothic has feels, even though it's fantasy, high fantasy, feels so realistic, so earthy. That is the word, epic. You can rely with it very nicely, and it doesn't filter the words. It's not this Princess Disney shebang what the last Dragon Age was. Oh my goodness gracious. I can full-heartedly recommend you to experience Gothic, to give it a fair chance, even though at the beginning you will be mauled, eaten, spit out again, eaten again, shit upon, yelled at, ignored. The whole journey is worth it, and if this intrigued you strongly enough, check out our Let's Play of it, see some more details and more gameplay material before you decide. Please be my guest, give it a try. Well, that was it, dear RPG lovers. Don't forget to do all the nice YouTube shebangs with liking, subscribing, bells, and whatnot. I really appreciate your support. And let me know in our Rank 1 website what kind of games you would like to see next. Vote for games that have been suggested already, because you have it in your hand what kind of Let's Plays we're gonna attack next to add to our library. With that said, Nora signing out. Thank you for watching.